Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather, wanting to bring you a quicker long-range update tonight, folks. It's been a little while since I've done these, between being a little bit sick and then the holidays, and just not a whole lot going on. But getting back into the regular swing of things now that the Christmas holiday is over. Right now, we're in kind of a kind of a warmer blah kind of pattern here. Really, we got some needed rain coming. That's a good thing. I think there's some exciting things that might happen as we head in towards January, but really this week, not a whole lot going on. Here's the way the GFS sees things. High pressure, large and in charge tonight. That's going to give us a very clear and cool night here around the area. Probably some patchy fog developing, some dense fog at that by tomorrow morning, so watch out for that as you wake up. And then tomorrow afternoon, crowds increase. By later in the evening, we may have some showers that start to roll through into the area. Nothing big with this, just some little spotty things. Run with a 40-50% chance, something like that. That'll move out of here pretty quickly, and then we've got another system that wants to roll in here for the weekend. By the time we come into Saturday, there are some indications that we get another rain system moving in. Could we possibly get some wet snowflakes mixing in? Some of the models want to say yes some of the times, but I really think it's going to be more of a rain event than a snow event. Any wet snowflakes we get mixed in probably be few and far between. I think it's mainly going to be rain for us on Saturday. Then on Sunday, we've got a low that's cutting off to our south. The Euro actually takes it a little bit more north than that and gives us rain Sunday as well. So there's some discrepancies there, if you will. And then by the time you roll into Monday, there's also some chances for rain on some of the models. I'll show you in a second. Then here's what the GFS does as we head later into the week. It wants to bring us some potential for some snow here on January the 4th. So this would be about a week and a day away. Again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm a little skeptical of this. At this point, we shall see. And then a bigger system starts to roll in here around the 7th, 8th, right around in there over the weekend. And it looks like it could be a rain to snow maker on the setup right now, but we will just have to see. That's a little too far off to know for anything certain at this point. The Canadian takes things pretty similar. Some showers around tomorrow, late afternoon into the evening hours. Not a whole big deal here with that either. Then we come into the weekend. There's some rain on Saturday. On Sunday, it suppresses the rain pretty much to our south. Whereas the Euro, actually, I don't have the Euro pulled up here to show you. The Euro kind of keeps us in with some rain. But then it comes back with some rain on Monday and even into Tuesday of next week as well. So it's a pretty good little wet mess there for us. And by the time Wednesday comes, you see the idea here that we could have some rain or snow around the area. Remember, the GFS showed a very similar solution to this. So again, it's something that has our eyes. There is the potential for something there. But we are a week away. Lots can change with this, but it's an idea of one that we will keep an eye on beyond that. I will say this, the pattern is certainly going to become a little bit more conducive for something as you head into January. As we are closing out December here right now, we've got a positive EPO, the East Pacific Oscillation. When it's in the positive phase, well, you get what we have right now, which is usually a little bit more milder weather. You want that to go firmly in the negative if you want some of that colder weather to return. And you notice here, what the Euro is doing here is the solid white bubbles here are the current run, and then all of these others are previous runs. And so you can see there's a lot of run-to-run variability here in the EPO, but the trend is certainly to take it into the negative as you head towards the beginning parts of January, and certainly that could spell some much cooler weather than what we have right now. Also, you notice the Arctic Oscillation, the AO, trending towards the negative side there as well as we open up January. So that would signal a much colder regime taking over as we begin January. And the North Atlantic Oscillation is wanting to go into the negative as well. And again, you see it varies run to run on how intense it is here. But nonetheless, the trend here most certainly is to be in the negative. Well, the NAO, remember, is the blocking in the North Atlantic. So you need this to go into the negative to be able to slow systems down, block them up, sort of amplifies the jet stream, jacks it up. And that tends to allow storms to roll here through the Ohio Valley more. So as we head into this time frame at the beginning of January through the 1st through the 7th right in here, that could be a prime time for something to go on. Now again, remember, back up in here what the GFS is saying, The GFS is saying here right about the 7th, 8th of January, you've got a pretty big system rolling through the Ohio Valley here. Well, that would be pretty consistent with what you see here with, with the North Atlantic Oscillation going into the negative. That could certainly allow that to come down here. If this trends towards the positive like it has been, a positive NAO tends to allow those systems to cut way up to our north, and they have little to no effect on us, or they're just rain. So a negative NAO could help to lock some of that colder weather in for us and draw some of that down. So something that we're going to have to see. PNA still looks pretty flat. There's some hints on some of the runs that it might go briefly positive, but the trend here mostly is to keep it well into the negative. Remember, a negative PNA is a trough out west, and you kind of sort of see this. You got a small little trough that moves through here with this cold front, but by and large that's out of here quick, and the western trough really takes over. And that's what you see as a negative PNA. And as we get into here, you get these troughs starting to roll through, but watch this. You've got the southeast ridge here starting to beef up once again, and you've got this very deep trough. You've got a very strongly negative PNA here. That's a trough out in the west rather than over here in the east. It digs down in here, but watch how instead of just sliding over here with a deep trough over us, watch how this cuts up here, because what you have is the southeast ridge is just not letting it cut down into here. Now that could produce a storm system. You notice the tilt of the trough coming right through the Ohio Valley. That could produce an Ohio Valley storm system right here around the 8th or the 9th. So that's a date that we will keep in mind with things right now. Nothing set in stone. If we look out into the future and we look at temperatures between now and then, it's certainly going to be on the mild side. 42 was the forecast that it did for today, 46 tomorrow, and then you got some low 40s there on the weekend. Look at next week, Monday and Tuesday, into the low 50s there. Certainly that's very, very mild air for late December, early January. We should be much cooler than that, but then watch that as you head into the 5th. Once you get those troughs starting to swing through, you're going down to 20s and lower 30s for your highs for a period of time, the way things look right now. So, this is far out in there. There's a long way still to go here, folks, but we do see some cooler weather in sight. And I do see a pattern change in sight that could be more conducive to snow. Right now, you're just not, until you get into January, into those early days of January, specifically from the 5th onward, and I really think your best chance is really going to be right now about that 8th, 9th storm for anything at this point. It's going to be in January before you get a chance, really a good chance for getting a snowstorm around here. So right now it's just going to be sort of on the mild side for late December, early January. You're talking temperatures in the low to mid 40s for the most part for highs, upper 20s and low 30s for lows. That's not bad for the beginning of January as far as things go. So enjoy the mildness this week for what we have. It's not going to last here forever. As far as a January outlook and looking further on into this, it's probably going to be a pretty up and down month. We're going to start it out on the mild side, but then it's quickly going to go into the cold side. You'll probably have some warms and some ups and downs here as you go through the month. That's likely what the next couple of months are going to be, are these roller coaster rides. I don't see brutal Arctic air just lashing out on us and staying here for weeks at a time. I see some brutal Arctic air shots that will probably come to us this winter, and we'll probably get some single-digit lows again. Like we've already seen them, we'll probably get some of that again, but it's going to be 3 to 5 days of something most of the time, rather than weeks and weeks of things like we've seen in the past. It's going to warm back up. It's going to be likely a very up and down kind of winter. We're already seeing that in here in the numbers. We've already seen that. That's probably what the trend is going to be. Snow lovers, do be patient. There will be some snow chances come our way. I don't remember ever having a winter where we had no snow. We've had some where we've had little snows before, but by and large, most we've had at least one storm out of something. So I think we'll get some snow, but I don't see it anytime soon. It's going to be as we start to open up those opening days of January before we get anything really at this point, anything significant. Probably that system of the 8th and 9th looks the best at this point. We'll keep you updated, folks. That's it for this update. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite for Southern Indiana Weather, and we'll see you next time.